Hello there. So how does it go? Do you talk first? Do I talk first?
I can't really hear with all the...
I'm Vanessa.
I'm Robert. We are late to the party.
And this is our spoiler review of The Force Awakens.
Wasn't easy, trust me. Hasn't been easy on us, trust me. So, trying to get this all out fluently in just how we feel the movie turned out and where it's headed, all in one fell swoop, with one swift stroke. So, the crawl.
Yes.
The crawl. Love the crawl because it felt like Star Wars. You're probably going to hear a lot of other people say the same thing, but when you see it, you know why.
Or if you've already seen it, then you know why.
Correct. Oh, the Resistance, they sent their war hero, they sent their soldier,
their best pilot,
their man, their agent. Totally an agent of evil. And they sent him to Jakku, but I don't think they sent him to Jakku.
My outpost.
I think he was called, not just him called, but I think, what is it, Lor-San Taka? Is that how it is?
Yeah, I think so.
Max von Sydow? I mean, I had to wait for the third viewing to see his name. Lor-San Taka. Lor-San Taka. Believe that's what it is. But for him to be there for such a short period of time and then get struck down so quick, I mean, he had some great words.
Yeah.
But he ends up, I think, calling to the Resistance. I think he and Luke Skywalker came from the same place. I know it's in one of the visual encyclopedia where it talks about...
He's part of the Church
of the Force?
Of the Force.
Yeah, but I think, honestly, he was part of Luke and helped Luke when everything went down. I think he was a loyal and devoted servant to the Force, and when Luke was in trouble, he helped him, and I think he ended up maybe dropping her to Jakku, and maybe he is the Obi-Wan. Maybe he has been watching Rey the entire time, and he has the piece of the puzzle to tell everybody where Luke is once he returns, or once he's able to return, ready to return, whatever it is they were waiting for. The strike, the fall of the hero, whatever ignited this path, he is waiting for that moment, and the time has come to give that piece of the puzzle back to the Resistance. Who also has the other piece of the puzzle? R2-D2 has another piece of the puzzle.
Who is, as you see in the movie, dormant for the majority of the movie, but
we understand why, and we had to watch it a few times to understand why.
Yeah.
It hit us at first, and as soon as Lor-San Taka ends up getting wiped out, I'm like, what? Really? Like, it kind of hit me at first, like, you just wasted. You Boba Fetted this guy? Like, we were kind of interested, and we knew nothing about him, and we didn't even know his name, so it made it considerably harder.
Yeah, we definitely didn't know his name, but right off the bat, that whole scene there with all of the Stormtroopers and stuff, we actually, before, like, with all the trailers and stuff, we're like, oh, that's going to be the first part of the scene, like, the teaser that we got last year when you see the Stormtroopers in a line and it's all like dark and flashy, we're like, okay, that's gonna be we thought that was gonna be the first.
Yeah, how it was going to start. It was going to cut to space, it was going to show the Star Destroyer, it was going to show the transports, and it was going to show inside the shuttle with these Stormtroopers getting ready for battle.
Yep.
Now, we didn't picture that BB-8 would be watching, so that part was definitely cool for us. The BB-8
you get BB-8
like, first
right
thing,
off the bat.
right off the bat, and he runs through like those little chicken vulture turkey things.
Yeah.
They don't show it, it like cuts right before he runs through it. I was like, get a BB-8! The whole time, he's rolling to him. But either way, that whole scene with Poe, we also did, personally, we predicted on our own. Poe was there for a reason. We did not know why, but he is also in hot territory where he could be picked up at any moment. What is it? Aftermath covers stuff like that, where there's these little agents that are going out and doing certain things for the Resistance. or rebellion, whatever that transformation they're trying to become. But they've got their little guys out there somewhere doing something for them. Wedge Antilles, it's him in Aftermath. But in this, it's Poe. Mm-hmm. And the way Poe's introduced is brilliant. I love how he just comes in and he's that cocky agent. He's that guy who's there and, you've done well. It's time. And then it goes bad. And he becomes a soldier and takes on a whole legion of troops.
Yep. Then, when the Stormtroopers are down and you see them come out of the thing and start blasting everybody, there's that scene where you notice that Poe is shooting at them, and then Poe shoots a certain Stormtrooper.
FN 2003?
Yes. And then you see another Stormtrooper come and lay down beside him, and you see the hand and swipe over the face, and later on you realize that was Finn. But a little awesome tidbit for the Stormtrooper that fell.
FN 2003.
FN 2003. Was it in the visual?
The visual encyclopedia, I believe. It's where they talk about how he was the lowest in the class, and Finn, FN
2187,
helped him out every single time, and they said he was a liability to the First Order. You're only as strong as your weakest soldier, so they just wanted him to slip. And so that's why they called him Slip, and he ended up getting helped by Finn the entire time they were going through this process of becoming a Stormtrooper. When it comes to Finn, it added more weight to it when I first watched it. I'm like, he's just freaking out, but then we find out later, okay, it was his first one, okay, he did sanitation, he probably wanted to become something more, and he did, and this is his first battle, but at the same time, he was a tough guy because he helped another guy, he probably had, that felt like a brother, maybe going through it with him, because himself is a coward. He's definitely a coward who's just afraid, and he doesn't understand, but he does end up having his own awakening as soon as that happens to FN 2003.
And then you get the scene where, of course, he decides not to partake in the massacre of a small village.
The slaughter of the villagers, which definitely propelled him forward from there and did what he did when he helped out Poe Dameron.
Yeah, and then before that scene too, we see the strength, a little bit of the strength that Kylo Ren has when you see Poe trying to shoot the gun, and then all of a sudden he stops it and it just holds there. And for me at first I was like I don't know, it was just kind of weird. I'm like,
because we haven't seen it before.
Yeah, I was like, could he be really that strong to do something like that? But then I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense. But
at the same time, he thinks he's not powerful enough. But he's holding people and blaster bolts, and he's powerful. But the thing is he doesn't believe he's as powerful as Darth Vader. But even Darth Vader wasn't all that powerful. I mean, in some of the books, yeah, he does some pretty crazy stuff, especially in Lords of the Sith and Tarkin. But you get some of that where he is a pretty powerful guy, so it makes sense that Kylo Ren would be as powerful, but I don't know, on screen they just never really portrayed that. Mm-hmm. So then we get Phasma, and Phasma, she's just there. She's cutting her order. She's doing what she needs to do. She just kind of shows up, and then she's
disappointments with her, but we will get to that a little bit later.
And so we get back to their Star Destroyer. I know it has a specific name.
But even before that, too, the exchange between Kylo and Poe.
Oh, yeah, well, with do I talk first? Do you talk first? Definitely my favorite part up to that point, because it set the tone for what we were going to see. As soon as that hit, I was like, oh, this is great. I'm excited. I'm happy for the way it's going, for sure. The banter. So the banter between Finn and Poe definitely propels us even farther.
Yes.
Now we love him with...
Yes, I really love...
Poe.
their interaction with Poe that first time when he gets him into the corner and he's like, I'm gonna get you out, and he's like, all right, let's do this. And then he's like, why are you helping me? He's like, because it's the right thing to do. And he's like, no, he just needs a pilot to
You need a pilot. I need a pilot.
Yep.
I need a pilot. And we're going to do this. Where Poe just immediately jumps in. We're going to do this. We are? Like, it totally catches him off guard completely. And takes over the moment and ends up wanting to just do the craziest thing, commit suicide possibly, to get out of this First Order thing, because he knows what's going to happen, because he doesn't belong. They'll just kill him.
Yep.
But with their escape, the trip back down to Jakku.
Yes, the whole scene where they get into the TIE fighter, and then he's trying to, like, they're still attached, and then he, like, is shooting. I actually geeked out a little bit because there's a kid that he's like, sir, there's a TIE fighter that's, like, unauthorized. And I was like, oh, I know that kid. I know that kid from Doctor Who and Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Anyways. And then they get blown up, gets blasted, and then they leave. And I really, really like the part where he's like, oh, I really wanted to ride one of these. And then once he gets to do it, and then he's like, whoa, this thing really moves. And I was like, yeah.
Definitely shows us something that we've never seen before from the inside of the TIE fighter. We've seen it in Rebels again, but now we get to see it in a Star Wars movie. Just things that don't go together. Our guys and their TIE fighters, and now we're actually just kind of blending them in because it's becoming a more blended, realistic world where why wouldn't they steal a TIE fighter?
Yeah, and then again, that relationship or that conversation between Finn and Poe when they're in the TIE fighter is really good. Like, I feel it's very fluent between the back of them. You know, it's like sometimes when you get characters, you're just kind of like, they don't really
Dak and Luke. I feel like I take on the Empire all by myself.
Oh, yeah. You don't really feel any kind of connection. But these two guys are like, you kind of start like, okay, I could see that these really work together very, very well. Like, especially the part where he's like, what's your name? FN2187. FN, what? I'm not going to call you that. I'm going to call you Finn.
Yeah,
he's like, I like that, Finn. You know,
it's just a natural friendship that we definitely love. We love to see it, and it made it even better, made it even happier.
Yep.
And then Jakku, and then Poe vanishes, and he's gone, and that's it. No more Poe until way later in the movie, which was kind of, but it made sense. It made sense to the story that he would be gone, but they made you think he was dead and all that. But I'm like, well, the hatch was open on the TIE fighter. I noticed that. So he had to have been ejected somewhere. I mean, freaking...
I mean, the way that they showed how Finn ejected and then he turns and you see the smoke all the way, he ejected pretty far.
Far away, like upper atmosphere, and just floated wherever.
Yeah.
And ended up in the desert and then ended up following a smoke trail. But whatever happened to Poe, he ejected. He woke up at night. Is that what he said?
Yeah, he said that he woke up at night.
Hit hard, probably.
So now we're on Jakku.
Rey.
And then we're Rey. Yes.
Rey.
When
just cuts to her.
The cut to her where she's doing the whole scavenging. Mm-hmm. She's a scavenger.
And that's where we get to hear the music for the first time, and it made the scene. It's definitely our favorite track off the score.
Even the first time I watched it, I was like, oh, I really like this tone that they have for her when she's sliding down after she gets out of the Star Destroyer. She's sliding down the sand, and they have the do-do-do-do, like they have the little the little like ting ting song. Like, I really like it.
It's very fun, and it caught me off guard at first completely. But it resonated with you a little bit more.
But the only thing it kind of resonated with me because it reminds me of another piece of music from another show called Doctor Who, Claire's theme. But so that's why I liked it a lot more too.
But it definitely added emotional connection to her immediately. It's the first time we saw her getting her rations, eating her rations, and sitting with that helmet. Man, I love Daisy Ridley.
Yeah, when she sees the thing fly up, and then she's eating the thing, and then she sees the thing, and then she's like, oh, and takes the helmet. And she's kind of in her mind probably dreaming oh, this is kind of what I want to be. She wants to she stay I don't know. There's a conflict between her when she does that. I guess she's just kind of
which we find out
longing for something.
She's a lot like Ezra, man.
Yeah.
Man, dude, a lot like Ezra, totally.
Oh yeah, Ezra from Rebels.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, you should be watching.
Even with the helmet, except her helmet is an X-Wing fighter, and
Yeah.
she made a little doll of him. Again, that visual dictionary.
Yeah.
Dictionary.
There's a doll.
Bantha gives you a little description.
And it's kind of cute that she lives in a...
AT-AT.
In
In
an AT-AT.
an AT-AT. It makes sense that she would live in, a fallen piece of...
History.
Yeah,
basically.
that war, that big war, Endor 2.0, but
Yeah.
Jakku.
But on Jakku, yep. Or Hoth 2.0, but just on a hotter planet.
Yeah, see, a lot of people saw the whole Luke simulation.
Similarities
When it came to him wanting to get off, Tatooine.
Yeah.
Me, I was just fucking bewildered by that bread.
Oh yeah, she's just like Tezin, like, that's
It
kind
just
of
turns
cool.
and it turns into like a bread ball. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? That and some blue milk, that might be tasty. Reminds me of like banana bread, but with dirt in it.
Yeah.
Probably still tasty. But yeah, I was just looking at that part with the bread ball thing. Like, again, getting into detail of like the food of Star Wars. The blue milk, I actually cared. It's not some floating apple. I don't care about that pear apple. Like, I want to see some crazy stuff. And we see it in the form of the inflatable ball sponge.
Yeah. And then, yep. And then all of a sudden she hears something and we're like, oh, that sounds like BB-8.
Yeah, the discovery of BB-8 and immediately how they kick it off with the friendship. And we get to meet BB-8 and really see his personality and how he plays off of her.
Yeah.
And the instant friendship. And she can understand him, too. I like that.
I like that, too. I liked how she was talking to Tito, is his name. And she's just doing her alien talk. I'm like, okay. So she's very versed in different... And then she understands the droid. And she's very versed in different languages, too. Because she understands Chewie when we get to that part, too. And then... so they're together now.
Yeah, I didn't even pick up on that. See, discovering stuff new all the time. Yeah, she totally understood Chewie, which totally makes sense.
Yep.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. And
So,
then now, like
the staff, we didn't get a whole lot anything other than that scene where she just kind of kicked some guy's ass with the staff.
Yeah, she
so
kicks these guys' asses because, as you've seen in the movie, the scavenger, the main boss guy, wanted the droid, and she's like, nope, he's not for sale, and so he was like, take it from her, and you kind of see how she takes care of herself there by like whacking these guys, and then this is the point where she now gets to interact with
Finn.
Our man Finn.
Going on his runaway adventure.
And yeah, but I love that.
What's he looking for?
I don't know.
Glass? He's like, doesn't anyone have a glass? Is it because he's still looking for water? Is that what's going on in the kitchen?
He's like, water. Oh, water. He's like,
I know he was like
water.
that in the beginning, but then he's like running around in a tent right before the TIE fighters
He was looking
come.
for
And he's like, doesn't anybody have a glass?
No, he was looking for a blaster. He's like, does anybody here have a blaster? He was looking for a blaster.
I heard glass. And I'm like, is he still thirsty? I mean, I get it.
No, he was looking for, like, does anybody here know how, like, has a blaster or anything? And that's what he was looking for.
Okay, so he's looking for a gun. Yeah, they probably scrapped
in that scene. But I really like the part where you see him notice that there's BB-8 and he's like, oh, that must be the droid that's Poe Dameron's droid. And so he kind of goes over to where she is, and then
freaking BB-8 like, flips out. Yeah, flips out and tells her, rats him out, but he doesn't know. He just knows he has his jacket.
And then she freaking whacks him. She gets him good. And then BB-8 was a little like stinger. That was good.
Yeah, I'm glad BB-8 ended up having utilities. We figured they would be popping out of somewhere on the ball, and they did a pretty nice job with it. I mean, R2 had him, so why not? But then R2 get all crazy where he could fly and all that, which was fine.
Yeah.
It was the only way he could survive certain situations. But
and then them running away, and then you can hear, like, when he was looking for the blaster or whatever he was looking for, and then he's like, wait a minute. And you can hear the TIE fighters, and you're like, oh, dang, things are about to blow up. And then as soon as they run out of the thing and get freaking blasted and then fly, that looked like it hurt. That's all I have to say. And then when they're running away, and then the Finn is like, we can't outrun them, because he knows And then, of course, she's like, we could in that quad jumper. And then he's like, well, we need a pilot. And she's like, we got one. And we're like, oh, okay, she's a pilot too. That's awesome. And then, of course, he's like, what about that junk? And he's like, no, that's junk. And then they run, and then, of course, they blow up the quad jumper, and then they turn. And, of course, it is the Millennium Falcon.
I'll admit, it got me. I had no clue that it was coming. Like, I didn't see it coming.
No, I didn't see it coming either. And I was like, oh my god, it's the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, like, I completely forgot about it, because the big thing with our prediction, too, was we didn't know where the Millennium Falcon was.
Yeah, we thought it was probably still with...
We thought Poe had it at the settlement.
Oh, yeah, we thought that somebody had it.
Well, I thought it was at that settlement with the crew, whoever was there doing their mission. And I thought he took the Falcon, because there were rumors before that Poe would have had the Falcon, but funny enough, he never, I think, touches the Falcon at all.
Oh, now that they have the Millennium Falcon and they're trying to run away from the TIE fighters, I really enjoyed that scene too, because it kind of shows what kind of pilot she is, and even then she's kind of insecure when she's like, I can do this, I can do this.
Well, she's trying to hype herself up
yeah, that's
to pull
true,
it off.
she has like insecurities there too, so she's just like, I could do that, I got this. And then when I love like Finn in the cockpit area where he's using the gun, which I really liked. I liked when they went in through the Star Destroyer. That was fun. And then she's like,
and then there's like a deadfall, just it just shuts off the Falcon, and it just
yeah, so that he can use the gun, because the gun gets shot, as you know.
Definitely a cool scene. Love that she did stuff with the Falcon that we haven't seen yet, and then gets us on our way.
And then that's of course the scene too where she does the little, like, they do the little swing, and I was like, oh,
the swing.
swing.
So that gets them on their way, and then we come across the heroes, one of the biggest pops of the night.
Yes.
When they get captured, just happenstance, they get captured by Han Solo.
Solo and Chewbacca.
Yeah, and it adds a huge pop, and I actually like that scene on the freighter.
I do.
I enjoyed it.
I mean, at first, though, for me, I kind of didn't. I was like, kind of thrown out of the movie a little bit, but after...
No, I was like, this is where it's going. This is where Star Wars is going. We get to see another element of the world, and that's what made me happy. Because the two gangs, I mean, it just made sense. Now, having the raid guys there and not utilizing them later on, which they may be the Knights of Ren or some dark Sith Lords or whatever that are going to come. They could totally play them.
Yeah.
But at the moment, since we saw them and they were the guys from the raid, they did not utilize them at all. But I enjoyed the scene. I liked it. I thought it was a fun little romp. My favorite thing is when Han Solo totally just grabs the guy from, what is it, Conja Club?
Yeah.
And just chucks him into the monster, and the alien just eats him instead, and they get away. Like, that's pure Han right there. No one's talking about that, where Han Solo just straight up murdered a guy from Conja Club.
He did. So he
grabbed him and chucked him into the
He,
mouth.
like, hits him, knocks him out a little bit, and then goes, whoop.
Which I was waiting for the Indiana Jones... punch sound sound effect. Just,
he did kind of give like the little...
It did. It was an indie punch, and it was great because it's a Han Solo punch too.
Yeah.
But he just chucks him and then he escapes. And definitely I love that they added a little just kind of a side romp, a side quest, a side adventure where it was just different, and I enjoyed it. Star Wars is always full of those moments, and I'm glad that was kind of the moment in there.
And then I love when we first see the bowcaster in play.
The bowcaster definitely comes into play
quite a few times.
Multiple times throughout the story, especially during Maz Kanata, because Maz Kanata is when he uses the bowcaster.
Yep. And then when they're on the Millennium Falcon on their way to Maz Kanata, and they have that conversation about the planet, like he sees the part of the part of the map, and he tells them like, oh, I used to think this is a whole bunch of hokey pocus.
Yeah, like in the trailer, but with the pain on his face when they start talking about Luke Skywalker and all of it, and it's like, Han Solo, aren't you the smuggler? It's like, oh, he's a war hero, you know, like, what is he? The identity is just jumbled with Han Solo. Like, he's either or, and we end up saying he is the smuggler, because that's how he goes out. He's gone and been that for a long time, the smuggler. The swindler, as soon as I saw, and he owed money to the two clubs, it just kind of hit me. Han Solo, not the hero anymore, and with good reason. I mean, he totally fell. The fall of Han Solo, just emotionally when we get to him, and then the fall of Han Solo when it just finishes him off in that story.
Yeah.
Gets the best of him, which kind of sucks.
It does.
But Maz Kanata, get to Maz Kanata. I love Maz Kanata.
I do. I really like her. I know that some people didn't like her because of the CGI, or they just didn't.
Screw him.
Like
Han Solo.
Hey, Maz. I do. I really enjoyed that scene. I mean, at first.
Where's my boyfriend? Chewie's out taking care of the Falcon.
I like that Wookiee.
I like that Wookiee. I like it. Yeah, I totally saw that scene as a Cantina homage as well.
Yeah.
A lot of people like the music. I haven't even really heard the music.
I didn't really care for the music. I mean, the first time I watched it, I was like, this is kind of.
But it's like another guy that did it. I don't know. He's an artist. I know
it's
JJ picked him to do that part because they wanted John Williams to do it, and he felt that somebody else should do it. Which I get, bring in some fresh talent. But either way, the Maz Kanata scene, setting up the conversation between her and Solo, wondering what's going on with Rey, who's the girl, and then, trying to see where Finn's going to go. Looks like Finn's running away, and then Rey wants to go back home because she wants to go wait for those people that are never going to come. And then Maz tells her that, and the call of the lightsaber comes.
The call of the lightsaber.
Which is great, because we saw that available to us, to our eyeballs, firsthand in Rebels.
Yes, in Rebels you see that with Ezra.
The spark of the rebellion.
Yep. He the lightsaber calls to him, and it's Kanan's lightsaber. And that's where he finds the little holocron thing that...
Puzzle box.
That was like a message from Obi-Wan.
The call, the warning, don't come back to Coruscant.
Yeah.
It's done. The council is gone. The Jedis are gone. Go. Save yourself.
And then I loved when she touches the lightsaber, and then we get that Force vision, I guess, and you see what kind of...
Big takeaway, the biggest thing that I caught out of it, because the rest of it came to me afterwards, after watching it the first time. But when I watched it the first time, the biggest takeaway, because a lot was going on. Yeah, I saw the Knights of Ren. Yeah, I saw or heard no from Luke.
You heard Yoda.
Yeah, the big thing I took away was Rey.
Oh, yeah.
And I heard it, and I was like, that's Alec Guinness. That sounds like Alec Guinness saying Rey. It turns out it is.
Yep, they actually took him saying afraid, and then of course cutting it down so that it makes it sound like he's saying Rey.
Ewan McGregor.
Which is awesome.
Ewan McGregor are also voicing the rest of it. These are your first steps?
Yes, and which is cool that they actually got Ewan to come and do that line, and which makes that scene even more powerful and awesome that they actually got him to come and do that line.
The hallway from Empire Strikes Back. Great call of the lightsaber.
Thought that Darth Vader was going to show up.
Yeah, it was like just a vision, a great Jedi vision, and I was so happy it happened. And the fact that she turned away from it, that she wouldn't touch the lightsaber and just said, no, don't let me, I'm not ever touching that thing ever again, and then ran away.
Yeah.
Where she gets to have her little fight with Kylo, and at the same time they come in and bomb Maz Kanata's.
Yep.
Totally take it out.
And then we find out how Finn gets the lightsaber, and it's so funny because we thought that from the trailers and stuff, we're like, oh, he's going to be the one. He's Force sensitive. He's going to get the lightsaber.
No, he's a brawler. He's a scrapper.
Yeah, we just realized that she just gave it to him.
I need a weapon.
Yeah.
I need a weapon. You have a weapon. That is a weapon. I don't remember what she says, but...
You have one.
Yeah, and he uses it, and that's where they miss an opportunity.
Oh, big
huge opportunity.
With Phasma.
Absolutely. The second time that I saw the movie, I'm like, why wasn't that Phasma? Phasma should have been the one totally there. FN 2187.
Yeah,
and just
when she's fighting with
traitor.
the thing.
Yeah, traitor. And then go and take him out. Why wasn't that her? And then why not make her armor so powerful that she does get hit by an X-Wing blast and goes flying, but is okay because her armor is super strong. It's said that the armor was made from like the not the Star Destroyer, something of the Emperor's. I don't remember what it was, but they've already given a lore to her armor where it came from, and let's just say it's some tough stuff. It's some tough armor. So why not
have her fight Finn right there,
Yeah,
too.
let her throw down and let it see who she is.
You do have Grindel and Christy in that armor, and she is one hell of a sword fighter.
Yeah, and they might use it later, but that was an opportunity where you could have had them interact really quick, and then it would have paid off more when they held her at gunpoint, because then that makes that feud between Finn and her a lot more powerful.
Yeah, a lot more powerful.
Heck of a lot more powerful.
Yeah, there you go. And then once, I love the one take shot when you see the TIE Fighter, when you see the X-Wing, and it's like doing the loop, shooting that TIE Fighter, shooting at the Stormtroopers on the ground, and then you see Finn like helping out as well, and then you're like, that's one hell of a pilot. Yeah. I love that one take.
No, he loves them. He loves them, and he doesn't even realize he loves them.
Yeah.
Flying around, popping everybody. He's just... He loves that pilot, and that's his buddy. That's who started this journey with him.
Yep.
And then we get the shuttle.
Yep.
Or we get the fight. We get the fight, the big fight, which was kind of ruined in the trailers a little bit, because we're like, that pop that I thought I was going to feel of Here Come the Resistance, like I knew they were coming because they showed that in the trailer where they're coming over the water. And so I'm like, all right, well, they're going to be here any minute. It still looked cool, but that was one thing that stood out for me.
Another thing that stood out to me too, now that I realize it, is that like when they were doing that scene and then they cut to the scene between Kylo and Rey, that first interaction that they have, it's very one-sided. He's very like boom, 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 like.
And she does the whole run across the top and jump thing.
Yeah, run across the jump, and then she's shooting at him, and he's deflecting everything, and all of a sudden he forces her, and she's like, what's going on? Knocks
her out, takes her.
Yeah.
And I did like that he totally he captured her. He didn't kill her. He wasn't there to kill her. Mm-hmm. And took her back to the lair. Yep. But then you get the shuttle. The shuttle shows up, and you get your
other pop.
Your huge pop. A double pop. Double tap.
Yeah, double take, because it's like, that's basically what I thought when it happened. So you get Leia.
Organa. General Leia, showing up in her fighting mode.
Yep.
Not really. She's just there to save whoever the hell ended up there and needed help. But yeah, she's just first one off the ship, which I love. She's the general, leading the troops, and then you get C-3PO.
Yep.
Thank the maker. C-3PO definitely gives you a little double pop when you get Leia and him back to back. And then we get to go back to that interaction between Han and Leia. We get to go back to that old trilogy. Yeah. Tell us about that. I mean, how did you feel?
I wish there was a lot more. I don't know. I feel like there was very restrained. I mean, they were together. They have a kid together, and it was just like, oh, you changed your hair.
Heard that before. Carrie Fisher has heard that before for sure.
Yeah, she has.
Thanks to Tim for that. But yeah, you change your hair.
And then the part like
not a huge.
Yeah, like I feel like it should have been a lot more.
But I feel like so much time has passed that it's all the heat of it is over. They're elderly.
I know, but I want more. I love.
It's over, and then they see an opportunity to maybe get him back.
Yep.
Okay. So then we get to the Resistance base, and then that's where we get all the fun little throwbacks. You know, Admiral Akbar, Neenum.
Nope.
Yep. I mean, we get the just home with the rebellion, but now the Resistance. And then you come to that interaction between
Poe
and Finn.
When Finn finds out that he's alive. And I really liked it. It was very like, before, like, oh, they did have a connection, and they're just like, oh my god, man, you're alive, thank you so much. And
such bros.
Yeah.
They're besties. Two best friends that anyone could ever have.
Yeah, and the party is like, wait, that's my jacket, you know?
No, it looks good on you. No, it suits you. It suits you. It looks good, man. Turn around. Take a twirl.
Yeah, basically.
But, yeah, they're buddies.
With this whole thing, I've been rocking it for centuries.
Absolutely, and now he's going to rock it for the next movie. That's going to be like his Indiana Jones hat, is that jacket. He'll always kind of have that jacket there. And we knew how he got it, which is great. And then on the flip side, we get more Starkiller Base as well. And Starkiller Base ends up showing us just kind of the level that Kylo Ren is willing to go to he wants to find Luke Skywalker. They just want to destroy it so that no one will find Luke Skywalker. It's totally a race for Luke on whether you find him or not. And both Kylo and Rey want to find him.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, I feel like that's the final test for Kylo Ren, is to destroy Luke Skywalker. That's got to be the highest thing, and I think because Snoke is terrified of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I mean, he even said it. He's like, if Luke Skywalker comes back, then that means the Jedi will rise, you know, so he's kind of like,
he's totally freaking out.
Yeah,
and his only hope is Rey. And probably the Knights of Ren, too. I think he wants him to lead this.
His only hope is Kylo.
Yeah, Kylo is probably his strongest hope, because he comes from the lineage that he comes from. So, that leads us to Snoke. I mean, Snoke,
At first, yeah, we were
I still feel like it should be makeup. It should be makeup and prosthetic, and if you want some digital effects in there somewhere, you can do it with the makeup. I mean,
it just when I first saw him, the first thing that popped in my head, I was like, he kind of looks like the zombies from I Am Legend.
Yeah, the Imhotep ripoff, the rah, like it kind of looks like that, and it kind of took me out of it. I love that. Oh, I freaked out when I saw he was like 20 stories tall.
Yeah, I was like, why? Why would
like, why would they have
that?
a giant? And then he fades away, and I'm like, oh, it was a hologram. Oh, that makes me so happy. But yeah, with Snoke, I love where it's going with him, though. I hope he's Plagueis. I really do hope he's Plagueis. It's just set up so well that if they wanted to do like a humanoid version of Plagueis, you got him. It's perfect. It fits with the lore. So have him go that way. Make him be a beddish and kick the crap out of everybody. And it comes down to him and Kylo versus Rey and Luke is essentially what it probably will come down to. A quad fight, which would be awesome. Tag team. But when it comes to the what? Another
thing about Snoke too that kind of reminds me now that I think about it, when he's interacting with Kylo and interacting with Hux, it totally reminds me of Emperor, Tarkin, and Darth Vader.
Yeah, the trio. It definitely fits that relationship set up in some of the expanded universe with those three.
Yeah.
So it definitely was familiar, and I love the interactions between Kylo and Hux, and even Snoke when they have little triple talks too. But yeah, definitely not a fan of the fact that there's another Death Star. We have to deal with it, but yeah,
it's just bigger.
Yeah, it's just bigger. That whole scene with like, well, you thought it was bad when it was a Death Star. Well, guess what? This time it's bigger. And it's like, it's just bigger. Can we blow it up? It's not really something I wish they would have gone to, but definitely the scenes on the actual Death Star I did enjoy quite a bit with Chewie and Han and their banter about you're cold. It's classic Han and Chewie.
Yeah.
Finding Rey was a little convenient. We get Rey getting mental blocked by.
Yeah, that scene definitely. I loved it, though. I mean, you can kind of see, like, he had the upper on her, and then all of a sudden she kind of was... It kind of... Very slowly, you can kind of see where it's like the boom, boom. Like, it switches, and then, of course, she comes in, and she's like, you will never be as strong as Darth Vader. In my mind, I was like, oh,
And that's why I think she picked up some stuff when he was in her head. I think she picked up the abilities... some of the basic abilities, like being able to control somebody. Too. It was an instinct. Just the Force guided her to get him to let her go, and it worked. And Daniel Craig, nice little appearance.
Yep,
drop your gun.
Yep,
I will drop my gun, and then just walks out.
You will leave this cell with the door open.
She totally had her own escape. She would have made it to the TIE fighter. She would have escaped. Rey would have been fine, but it ended up bringing, the other ones back. And then when Chewbacca told her it was his idea to come back and rescue you, and she just hugs Finn with the big ol' hug. That part I was really happy to hear, because they're buddies. It's not about him anymore. He went out of the way to save her, the way Han Solo went out of his way to save Luke Skywalker in Empire Strikes Back. Could have froze to death, but my friend's out there, and he went to go get him and put his life on the line.
Yep.
Then we get to the Han Solo Kylo Ren situation.
Yep. That scene, I feel like, could have had a lot more to it.
More weight.
The music itself was not up to par with what was going on in that scene. It felt very kiddie with the music. Like, I feel like it should have been way more like menacing and more like dark. But something that we didn't notice the first time, we actually noticed the second time at the exact same time, because we were like, oh!
Was it the third time? The third time
you're right. The third time is when you see Finn and Rey come up and
open the door.
Open the door, and then it pans out and you see the light.
The beam of light that shoots down across this big void, and it lands right on Han Solo and Kylo Ren. And we know that light's there because of the eclipse of the moon, and we all look at the sun going away. The eclipse of the sun. Sorry, not even eclipse. It's dying, and that's what I was saying. It's not even an eclipse. It's dying. The sun is actually dying. As long as there's light, there's hope.
Yep.
And that light is just cast on them, and then you have that slow turn, and that's what everyone else saw, or at least what I initially saw was the shift, how it got darkness, and the red just kind of took over.
Like, once that light went away, you're just like, oh, like, we knew that it was gonna come way before, but...
First thing we predicted, honestly, about the movie was that Han Solo was gonna die. I thought it would be with the Falcon. I thought it would be... They wouldn't get rid of that icon. But yeah, it did happen, and when it did happen, it didn't happen. I didn't want it to happen. But it had to happen, and then, it was emotional, and he puts his hand on him, and then just...
Yeah, I mean, for me, too, I was just like, no, it's okay. He got sliced in the stomach, he'll be fine. And then, of course, when he toppled over, because they don't like railings for some reason.
The DL-44 is gone.
Yeah, that makes me really sad too.
DL-44
and he just dropped them like, okay.
Yeah, but it was the final test he needed to do, and I was totally with him that entire conversation. I have to do one thing, and I don't know if I could do it. Will you help me? And yeah, I'll help you. And then he's just like, yeah, thank you. You helped me.
Yeah.
Now on to my final task, which is probably destroying Han Solo.
For that too, and I felt
Skywalker.
I felt that Leia should have had more emotion.
Yeah, Leia was heartbroken. We saw normal just movie points where they're like, oh, no, she's got to be sad. She's sad. That's essentially what it was, but it still hit me at a level like I didn't.
I think I
got the vapors. I got the vapors. But I didn't cry.
The vapors. I did cry. Like, I had, like, it was swelling when he did get hit and he fell, but then I got it even more when the reaction that Chewie had, and then the reaction what Leia had, but mostly the reaction that Chewie had. That just broke my heart.
Boom, 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 just jacks everybody up. But that power of the bowcaster, boom, first shot right to Kylo in the gut.
Yes.
And we had already had that bowcaster be blown up for us.
They showed us how powerful the bowcaster was before by flinging people across the hallway, and then all of a sudden he shoots it at Rey, or shoots it at Kylo, and then he just takes a knee.
Yeah, he basically what happened. Takes a knee, and then just keeps hitting it. Oh, what does it look like under there? It's probably a big old hole or something.
Yeah,
he's hurt.
When they're in the forest, and he goes.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Hits it,
he's hurting right now. And that final battle, and I gotta tell you, the biggest pop about the whole battle, obviously we get to go through the whole Finn fighting thing, we'll get there, but for me, before I forget, it's the Burning Homestead song. The Burning Homestead song that they use at the very end, now retroactively going backwards, getting to that forest, and we get to see Finn's attempt to kind of save after Daisy Rey just gets flung right through the tree.
Force flung right into the tree.
Right into the tree, and then we have to see Finn kind of take it over.
Yeah, and then, like, I know that people were like, well, why are these amateurs, these novice people can take on Kylo Ren? And it's like, well, first he got hit by the bowcaster, and then, I feel like he didn't have the upper hand on Kylo. Kylo did. I mean, even if you are a master at something, somebody is going to get a little snip. And he did get a little quick at him.
Little injuries across the poke and
like
the prod.
Nothing so big. And then, of course, the part where he gets the lightsaber out of his hand and goes, whoop.
Right up the back.
Oh.
Right up the back. Just splits him. And then he's out. And then out for the count. And that's exactly what I wanted. That's what I thought would happen with Finn. I thought he'd get worked over pretty well right off the bat. And I love how the lightsaber falls into the snow the same way it was in Empire Strikes Back. Just sticking out, handle out. And then we get to see, that pull, the force pull battle trying to get that lightsaber, and it goes to Rey. It chooses Rey, and that's where that music hits, the Burning Homestead, Burning Homestead. When it plays that song, and it's not even in the soundtrack, but they plug Burning Homestead in there, and for me, like, as soon as I heard the boom boom, I was like, oh my god!
I know, and
Burning Homestead.
At first, we really wanted it to be Luke. Yeah, we were hoping that it would be Luke.
Yeah, in the forest, like, but obviously we didn't know how the story was going to go, so based off the trailers, we hoped it would be Luke, just the two of them fighting, and then green lightsaber. How would that? Yeah. How awesome would that be? And he works Kylo, and Kylo gets away, but the way they did it, it's the way they did it, and I enjoyed the way they did it. They're playing the long game.
Yeah, they are, and I really enjoy, like, he gets her and she's trying to fight him off, and you can tell she's not really fluent. She does the whole Palpatine
it feels like the Force is guiding her.
Yeah, and then of course the part where he's like, I can show you the ways of the Force, when they're like that, and then she remembers, oh dang, the Force, and that's why when she closes her eyes,
he's not trying to kill her.
No,
he wants to bring her in, and because he's a Sith, and I think he's a Sith.
That's true. I mean, he did really wanted to bring her in because
he wants to train
that
her.
part, the scene where he's like Snoke, he's like, bring her to me.
And it would be the whole Darth Vader thing again. Like, he wants her for himself, so he can train her on the side, and make her powerful. Or because he really wants to please Snoke, he will turn her over, which is what Vader did as well at first. He turned him over because he wouldn't agree to take down the Emperor with him. But all in all, yeah, it's great the way they have their battle. She does the run across the top thing again, run across the top and jump, and I loved it. But yeah, totally, when she takes on the Force, she jacks him up.
I love that part, though. I love when, like, that part at the end where she goes, whoop, and then whoop, and gets him right across the face.
But I still can't figure out, is, like, does she hit his lightsaber? Is it broken? Does she hit his hand? Like, what does she hit? Does she just hit the lightsaber out of his hand and it turns off? I don't know what she does. Yeah, but then the next swoop is right across the face, and you get to scar him up.
Yeah.
And to me, like, that final battle, it was great. It was perfect. And the fact they ended up on opposite ends, they get to live to fight another day. And we get to see, and then when he says to Hux, bring Kylo Ren, we have to finish his training. Oh, here we go. He killed his dad. That was a huge step in the training.
Yeah.
That was a huge step forward for his training. So now it's going to come down to that next level. And then they take out Starkiller Base.
Yep. At the same time that this is happening, and of course it's a very homage to A New Hope with the first trench run when they go in, and then he's like, cover me, and they're covering him, and then
music could have been way better. Music could have been way better. But I digress.
The music, like, like,
bam, 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 bam. Boom, 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 boom. It's a good song.
It's a really good song.
And they could have used it, but they didn't use it, which is fine.
Like in a variation of that song?
Yeah, variation, something altered, renewed, remixed, I don't know, whatever. It would have been nice to have a little bit of that, because they did it in Return of the Jedi, and they used it when they escaped the Death Star in New Hope. But either way, it's over. They survive. Everyone survives except for Han Solo.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like that they destroyed again the Death Star. I'm like, again,
yeah,
like, I wish they like disabled it or crippled it or something. The only thing that really made it better was the fact that the movie was it blew up and then it became a sun again.
Yeah, that's awesome that it totally became a sun.
Like, it was unstable and became the sun
absolutely
again.
It just became unstable and I just grew that sun. So it's kind of nice that it was the dark into the light.
Yeah.
It was that just evil and death turned into the beacon of light, the beacon of hope. So great.
And then, of course, R2-D2 comes alive. Once that's done, R2-D2 comes alive, and we get the whole map where
conveniently R2-D2 comes alive right at the end. But I think he was waiting for.
We think that it was
a
planned.
Specific moment.
Yeah, we think it was planned.
A specific moment. And I think they may address that, but
later
or not. Just let it go, and they got away with it.
Yeah.
But either way, it basically, you've got this way to find Luke now. And there's hope. There's that hope in all their faces that they can maybe turn this around. And Leia and Rey share that moment. And I think she knows. I think it's Luke's daughter. And I think Leia knows. And that hug she gives her, she's family. Leia, why would she send Leia, or why would...
Why would she send Rey to Luke?
Why would they send Rey and Chewbacca and R2-D2 to go find Luke unless she knows? Like, it's got to be you. You got to be the one to go see it. So I think it's Luke's daughter.
Then,
it makes sense. I'd be so happy if it was Luke's daughter. It's exactly where it's where it needs to go. I'm glad they didn't have to tell us. You don't have to tell us. You don't have to shoehorn it in and tell us. I'm okay with waiting, and if it's not a big release or big reveal and they say it casually in the beginning and you're like, like this is what happened, I'm okay with that. Totally okay with that. But this final trip to find Luke.
And then when she gets to the island,
the look of Chewie, the eyes of Peter Mayhew when he's sitting in that chair and just kind of looks over at her, and they use it's kind of like a long shot, but they use it twice. And he's just kind of looking at her, and you could see Peter Mayhew's eyes, and it just adds so much emotion to it. That, to me, was my favorite part about the whole end of the movie, was just Chewie, how Chewie likes you. It's I love that Chewie and Rey, perfect, pitch perfect for where we're headed. And then we get to the island.
And she's walking up the steps, and then of course for me, this is where the music picks up. I really like the Jedi steps music. I do. And I love how and then she finally gets there, and you see the guy standing there. You're like, oh, Luke. Here he is. There he is. We've been waiting forever. Where's Luke? Oh, there he is. Yeah. And then and then he turns around, and then he does that.
Wasn't expecting the hair.
Yeah, nope.
Wasn't expecting the hair.
Nope.
But it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Like, why wouldn't he have grown? Everything else is growing on his face and his head. Why wouldn't his hair grow out like that? I loved it.
Yep, and then of course everyone is saying, "Oh, he's standing next to a tombstone."
I still have yet to see it. Yeah.
I've seen it. You can tell when it pans out, like when it circles around both of them when they're staring at each other. You can see the tombstone there. So, wondering who that could be.
Or it could just be part of Skelly Michael Island. It could just be a part of it, but I think it would make sense that it's somebody.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
But I loved, there was in her face, she kind of had this, here, I need you to give this, and then he kind of gives her this look, too, and then you can kind of see her eyebrows, ease up, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
Perfect
now.
shot.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with the pan around with the helicopter. I thought about it. I love it that it's different. I love that it's showing just kind of, this is where we're leaving it, and this is where we're going to go back to.
Yep, and then and I love the transition of the music, and then it goes into the
but then it stops and it plays the music from the movie, with Rey's theme, and it's a great theme.
That's awesome.
Definitely a great theme. But I, after the movie, watching it multiple times, drinking and pondering and just trying to figure out everything about it, it wasn't easy. Long-winded as well. We just keep replaying this movie over and over in our heads. We keep talking about it. And the crazy thing is, it is such a spoiler-filled thing that it's going to be hard, or at least it was hard, to be able to convey that to everybody online because of the spoilers. So this is our way of dipping in and saying this is what we think, and you've probably seen it by now. We really liked it.
There is, of course, we talked about the issues that we have, but we enjoyed it. And then there's a couple things that we didn't get to, but I wanted to get to too. I think even though people said that it was a mix between a rehash of New Hope, I thought it was a rehash of New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, when the rebellion and the Republic got destroyed and everything is going to poops. And
a lot of similarities, but I see it more as like a mirror, how we see the same universe playing out in the same way again. What everything that has happened before will happen again.
Yep.
History repeats itself, but then it veers off. But it didn't. It's kind of going the same way. We lost Obi-Wan, we lost Han Solo. They witnessed both happen, and then it projected them on their path.
Yep.
Han Solo, the tragedy of Han Solo, unfortunately, his life. Very reminiscent to the tragedy of Obi-Wan, fallen master, hiding in the desert forever, basically his whole life, and then went out quick. It sucks, but that's how it happened. Same thing happened with Han Solo. So either way, loved it. Loved it, but had some issues with certain
And
aspects
now
of it. Cinematic.
We're ready for Rogue One and Episode 8. Let's do this.
Absolutely. But
Like
other than
us
that, subscribe, follow us, whatever.
on all the
you want to
main
talk to us
social
about
medias.
this stuff? We're happy to talk to you about it wherever. But definitely, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Bye.
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 Bye. Bye. Got a boyfriend? Get a boyfriend? Where your boyfriend at?
Is he FT?
Is he acting?
Is he getting Mike and Ike's?
Is he getting
Where's
your
your
boyfriend? Where's your boyfriend at?
Totally, it's what I thought when Finn said that.
Yeah.
Your boyfriend? Is he
You
cute?
got a boyfriend? Your
Is he
boyfriend?
cute?
Where's your boyfriend at?
Is he hefty?
But